Hello and welcome to Being Anxiety Free. My name is Emma Upton and I'm here to spill all the tea on what it actually means to be anxiety free. There is something so unique and brilliant about you and it is locked in the codes of your DNA. Being anxiety free means we get to figure out who we're here to be, what we're here to do, so that our brilliantly unique body of work gets to flow through. I'm going to be spilling all the tea on how we get to do that. So join me for today's episode. Cheers! Hello, welcome to episode 15. I want to talk, it's Saturday, so happy Saturday. I want to talk about spilling the tea on breathwork, meditation. I realised that everybody who's anybody doing something brilliant talked about meditation, and I have a brain that spends 90% of its time being mad and screaming at me. So the idea of sitting silently for hours on end, there's a proverb, isn't there? If you haven't got time to meditate for an hour, you should meditate for 2. What? The idea of sitting with your thoughts for hours on end silently make you want to you'd rather stick pins in your eyes, then this is probably the episode for you. So I'm going to take you through the process that has got me to a point where I actually really like meditation. I actually really like sitting down for hours. The idea of a 10-day silent retreat is a challenge, but I feel like, I'm up for that now. When I will, I don't know. But if you have a brain that goes, sitting silently for hours on end sounds like a living torture, but I know how important meditation is. I know how important breath work is. I read about it all the time. I hear inspirational quotes about it all the time. Like, I want to do that, but there's resistance for whatever reason. This is probably Saturday sitting with the alpha alpaca. Do I have an alpha? Yes, I do. She's there. There she is, my alpha alpaca, getting the brain into those alpha brain waves so that we can actually do the work. Because when we're in beta brain waves, our brain is constantly thinking. We're focused on the outside of us. And when we're focused on the outside of us, we don't have any internal awareness. And I think I put here, breathing is your body's connection to the world. It is the gentle path to your paradise. I like that, the gentle path to your paradise, not the dark light. It's the gentle path to your paradise in this weird and wonderful world. The breath will allow you to grab a firm hold of that rainbow road, the connection from the subconscious through the unconscious, where all our limiting beliefs and stories keep us stuck, and into the conscious brain so that our work gets to flow through us. That rainbow road, making that direct connection with the 7 elements of the rainbow, to make that connection so all of our ideas, who we are, what we're here to do, gets to flow through. The breath allows you to get a firm hold of that rainbow road and lift yourself up onto it with ease. The more often you connect to it, the more effortless this process becomes, and you'll become like me and being like the idea of a 10-day silent retreat. Actually, that sounds like welcome. I would do it. But it's taken me 7 steps to get to that space, and I'm going to share, like, I'm not keeping anything from this space. Like, you get it all. When we connect to our breath, we are able to connect to alpha brain waves, which means that we are able to keep more of the emphasis on ourselves rather than what everybody else in beta brain waves is expecting of us. We know that meditation is powerful. We know being in beta brain waves and being out there isn't helpful. We know being connected to the self is what allows our work and our destiny to flow through. We know that there is this subconscious space that when we connect to it, we get every answer, but it's really tricky to navigate to the point. And you might be like me, just being like, right, I'm here to do big things. I'm just going to meditate. Right, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening. And we go in full force, be like, I'm doing it. And so we might set a calendar reminder. We might do the things to mean we're going to implement it. And maybe we do for a day or 2 or 3. But eventually that push, that will only ever get us so far. And I found myself in this dance of being like, I'm changing my life, like I'm doing it, this isn't working for me anymore, like I'm all in, I'm going to do it. But then what lies on the other side of all in is all out. Anything that is that extreme has an opposite extreme. We're always looking for that gentle pathway to the paradise. We're always looking, this jumper's so tight. We're always looking for that middle balance within it all. The thing that we find tricky as humans, because we're either, I'm all in, I'm going to change my life, or it didn't work, I'm out. This takes us to the gentle pathway to our paradise, that rainbow road, making those connections. It builds then to want to be like, I want to do meditation. And it comes from creating the piggyback sensory hack, which I'm obsessed with. If you know my work on any level, you know this is a thing that I sing about all of the time. I do that because it takes the emphasis out of the conscious brain that's just like, I'm in, I'm doing it. When we work through the senses, because we perceive this world on this sensory level, when we work through the senses, it takes us into the unconscious space that's in between our conscious brain and the subconscious. When we're in this space, it's where the emotional safe house is. Let me see if I can find a picture. If you can, if you're looking at the, so here's the conscious mind, the brain. And the rainbow road makes its way from the subconscious, which makes no sense. Like, don't try and get me to talk words about what that means. But if you're here, you've probably already experienced or got a good idea that there's more. The thing that stops us gaining that access is the emotional safe house, the unconscious space. We need to get through that. And meditation is an amazing way to do that. It is like the direct highway to it. But deciding that I'm just going to meditate, I'm just going to do it, and that's that, and forcing ourselves and pushing ourselves, when you've got a brain that spends most of its time screaming at you, you're going to hit a brick wall really quickly. I've got as my quote in here at the beginning, breathwork is the most essential component to transforming consciousness. If we're trying to figure out who we're here to be and what we're here to do so that our work gets to flow through, if we're trying to do that without understanding the power of breathwork, the power of meditation, we're going to be getting lost and going around in circles a lot of the time. It's dead important. But sitting for hours, having your brain scream at you, is not fun. And meditation is not stopping your brain doing that. So if you have a really overstimulated brain that is busy all of the time, that spends a lot, you're just going to have to witness that for a really long time, and it's horrible. So what I have brought to the world is a piggyback hack system using pause thoughts. Pause thoughts are moments where you get to land throughout the... I was looking for my phone then. I'm literally recording on it. Throughout the course of the day, I have the fine formula colours, the bands on the top as my screensaver. So every time I look at my phone, which is a lot, because let's face it, we're in the 21st century, I'm reminded, where am I at? What day is it? What senses am I tuning into? It takes the work out of the conscious brain and into the unconscious space. So Saturday sitting is all about rhubarbs and it's all about reds. I don't love, like, this is red. It doesn't look that reddy though, does it? Like, I need that exact colour. If anybody can find me a hat, a beanie in that exact colour and can send me the link, I'll be very grateful. Wearing reds and having the senses of rhubarbs around, I've got rhubarb and custard sweets, they go out in the sensory hack packs, allows us to be taking a pause thought moment, a microscopic moment of where's my brain at. When we're saying where's my brain at, we're heightening our awareness of our brain rather than just have the trio, so Bob, Francis and Toad, just lurking in the background of the conscious brain, always being on. What we're doing when we're taking these pause thoughts is taking a moment to interrupt them and being like, what's going on? Where am I at? And then in those moments, we're heightening our awareness. Awareness is everything. Awareness of those three is everything. Then on a Saturday, using the senses, using the reds, every time you catch yourself in the mirror, putting your best lippy on, every time you see your lip it, taking a moment to be like, I'm going to go to my breath. One of my favourite breaths to do, which engages the brain really quickly, and you can see your brain really quickly scrambling against you, is a breath of where you put your hands like this and you do a sharp inhale through your nose and a sharp exhale out your mouth. And you do that over and over again, and you do it to the point where you get a bit lightheaded. Don't Don't go passing out. Don't be like, Emma, I made myself faint. Like, don't do that. Although I have. I know it's fine. I'm not like, just don't push yourself to that point. But feel that breath. Feel how then your brain scrambles to be like, oh my God, you're going to pass out. Oh my God, what are you doing? Like you're losing, because your fingers go a bit tingly, your toes go a bit tingly. Oh, what's that? Like watch all of your brain do that. And then sit with your hands like this, just breathing, and watch. Watch how you're just fine. Watch how quiet your brain will be after that. It's almost like a reprieve of like, ooh, and then watch it and do it again. Those little pause thoughts moments of showing yourself that power that you have inside you, showing yourself that awareness, showing yourself that you can take charge of your brain whenever you choose to. And going throughout the day, wearing your rhubarbs, wearing your reds, share your pictures with me. If you were doing this alongside me, like you will see me whatever day it is, I'm going to be head to toe in those colours and those scents are around me, because I'm checking in with my brain and I'm awakening that inner power saying, we're not going that way. We're going the way I want it to. I'm in charge here. I'm the creator of this life. My destiny is locked inside me and the codes of my existence, and anything else is blocking it as a code blocker, and I'm not here for it. Coming back to that over and over again, using the reds, using the senses, and every time you catch yourself in the mirror, every time you see yourself, you look down, every time you smell the rhubarb, and you get that inspiration of like, oh, where's my brain at? Saturday sitting, the rhubarbs, you're connecting it all. Let me just own my power. Let me come back to my power. Let me sit here. And then you go about your day. That can be 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Then you go around with your day. That will build the muscle of checking in to that alpha alpaca brainwave states of just joyous. I love, I'm sure you know, I love imagery. Seeing that image of the alpaca like bouncing around carefree, that I know that every time that I check in and I take my power back through the breath, that alpha state is getting more prominent and dominant. And the more time I spend in that alpha state, the more the codes of my existence can come through, and I can navigate who I am and what I'm here to do with more clarity, more ease. It's more fun. So watch today, wear your reds, and watch today where your brain is trying to check in and be like, I'm in charge, I've got this, and be like, well, really? How about I take a breath? How about? So often we leave breath work to being at the point where we're exhausted and we don't know what we do and we feel frazzled and frantic. But because we're saying we haven't got time to sit for hours, so I'm just not going to do it. This is like the Rainbow Road Bridgeway between it all. When we dedicate ourselves to just noticing red, oh, where's my breath at? I can just focus, even if it's when we're washing up, getting red, washing up like gloves, and washing up and seeing the red and be like, where's my breath? I'm going to focus on my breath here. I'm going to take my power back. Doing that, if we do that often enough, we're falling into the alpha alpaca brain often enough, it starts to become more dominant. And the trio, Francis, Toad, Bob, the trio quieten down. We stay in this space more often, more consistently, over and over again, until we spend more time in that state. Doesn't mean that the conscious brain doesn't come back. Those three are going to find back doors to come back into our world. But we get to stay here in this space. And the more we do it, the stronger we make that rainbow road, the stronger we make that connection between the subconscious and the conscious through the unconscious space. And when the stronger that is, the more powerful we become. The more our inner power leads our life, leads our existence. So meditation is not sitting in a corner for hours at a time. Meditation is microscopic, bite-sized chunks until you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to meditate. Like, let me sit down. I am that person now. But the only reason I got there was because of the sensory experience that I took to the unconscious level of me. And then when it's there and things shift and change in there, then we get to action it out in our life. So go do, wear your reds, wear your rhubarbs, tag me in any of the things in any of the spaces at More Than This by Emma Upton. I would love to see the shares and how you're doing the work and showing up, stepping into that power and tapping into that power that's inside you. Thank you for being here. Happy Saturday. Much love.